Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. I hope everyone's making it through all the storms okay. They don't look quite as intense as what they were originally predicted to be a few days ago, which is common, it seems like, here lately. There's always this hype. There's hype to everything. But the weather, oh my goodness, we're all gonna die and get blown away. And then it's not quite as intense, but there still was some pretty good storms throughout the region. So hopefully those of you affected made it through okay. It's just, things are crazy. We live in a clown world, folks. It's like we've slipped into this weird Twilight Zone alternative or something like that. Maybe those CERN machines been fired up and we've slipped into a different reality again. Who knows? But things are constantly in upheaval. And I think I've said before, I think that's part of the plan, is to just constantly keep things in a state of uncertainty and chaos. It keeps us as people, our adrenals are just all over the board because people are constantly panicked and unsure of what's going on, and then in the end they look to the government to fix it, whether it's the left or the right or whatever. It doesn't matter. But I think it is part of the plan. If you have concerns with the whole war stuff, who knows what's going on. Israel says that they're gonna strike Iran, regardless of what the United States does. They're gonna strike Iran. Iran has fired back in regards to the negotiations that they will not reduce their nuclear proliferation. They will not reduce their amount of missile production, rocket production, all that kind of stuff. So it's uncertain if anything's actually going to really become of that. Russia and Ukraine were, I guess, going to do an Easter truce, and then one side of the media says that Russia violated that truce. The other side of the media says that Zelensky and Ukraine never agreed to it. So I guess that didn't happen. So that's all over the place. The president said over the weekend, which this one was kind of strange, although not out of the ordinary for him, that since he came into office, that egg prices have dropped 92% and gasoline's $1.98 a gallon. And I'm trying to figure out where in the world gasoline's below $2 a gallon, because I haven't found that yet, even looking online. And egg prices have not dropped 92%. Wholesale egg prices have come down from their peak, but retail egg prices have only come down slightly and still hovering around $5-6 a dozen. So, it's just more politician talk. Biden did it, Trump did it, Obama, all of them, they all do it. What's the old saying? How can you tell when a politician lies? Well, every time he opens his mouth. So there's that. If you still have any money in the stock market or care anything about it, it could get a little wonky this week or in the next coming weeks. The president is pushing still even more on this removal of Jerome Powell from the Federal Reserve. He says he's going to do it. The White House says that they're looking into how to do it, and that the president has repeatedly in the last several days criticized him, saying that he's doing a bad job and needs to be removed. Now, I am no fan of Jerome Powell or the Federal Reserve. I think it all needs to go away. But the reality is it's here, and there's not really any precedence or law that gives the president the right to just remove him because he doesn't like his policy. And so it's going to be an uphill battle. And already several, not just Democrats, but other countries, France chimed in and said if the president of the United States removes the Federal Reserve, it will put in doubt the legitimacy of the U.S. dollar, that it will hurt the U.S. dollar. And so, again, we're seeing more and more stuff that's connected to the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar being the global reserve currency. The U.S. dollar having any faith in it whatsoever. It's in the end, a lot of it has a lot of it's connected to that. A lot of this battle that we see taking place is about the U.S. currency and devaluing it. So that is going to be quite an interesting ride. A lot of predictions that if this happens, or even the attempt to this happening, that the stock market's probably just going to go all over the place, take a major nosedive. Who knows? Maybe it won't happen, but that's what a lot of people are saying. There's more and more talk in the financial world, amongst the kind of the gurus that are saying, get your money out of the stock market, get it over to gold. There's no, the stock market is not a stable place right now, even though it's gone up, down, up, down, up, down, to get out of it. Now, again, as I've said before, the stock market is not a gauge of the economy, but it is typically a reaction to the economy. And a lot of times an overreaction, but still a reaction. And the stock market is unstable, okay? Which is a reflection of the economy being unstable and uncertain, and no one really knows what's going on. And if this thing happens with Jerome Powell, you're going to see probably some major court cases. Jerome Powell may just say, you know what? The Federal Reserve isn't federal. We don't have to abide by you. We're not listening to you. And then it goes to court, and then who knows what'll happen. And if it goes to court and ends up the Supreme Court, I don't really have a lot of faith that the Supreme Court will side with the president, because just a few days ago, in a 7-2 case, the Supreme Court did not side with the president when it comes to all of these deportations. They said that, in some cases he doesn't have the authority, that he can't do that. And so there's a type of internal civil war going on right now in our government. I said this weeks ago. No, it's not a blue coat versus gray coat, out on the battlefield lobbing mini balls at each other. But it is a civil war. There is a legal, cold civil war going on in this country. And I think a lot of us knew that would happen when Trump got into office. We figured that would be the case. Is it going to stay that way? Are we going to see more and more potential for violence? Are we going to see more and more disruption to our system? The disruptions kind of go along with all the other disruptions. When you look at the bigger picture, when you look at economic stuff, when you look at destabilization of the federal government, which a lot of that's good, I get it, firing people, but it's still destabilizing. When you look at what's going on internationally and around the world with Iran and China and Russia and stuff, it's all getting into that very destabilizing, chaotic state. And I mean, there's a lot more. There's tons more. There's people wondering what happened to all the promises of Epstein files and what's going on still with Greenland, because we're talking about that. Tariffs all over the place. It's just every day it's something different. It's something crazy. All of that, good and bad, it's destabilizing. And I know a lot of people believe that it's necessary, and I don't disagree with that. But like I have been trying to get across to many of you, and a lot of you have gotten it, is that destabilizing, whether good or bad, will have some negative consequences, probably greatly negative consequences, and we need to be prepared for that. People need to start getting themselves generally ready for some serious upheaval in the next few weeks. And it looks like things are starting to kind of come to a head with the Iran thing, with the, China might invade Taiwan in 6 months, and what's going on with Ukraine and Russia, and then the stuff here in the United States with the economy and the tariffs and the gold and the markets. It doesn't look like we're talking about months and months and months or years in the future. It looks like we're in a period of weeks, maybe. And so I want to strongly encourage you to be preparing for something in that timeline. Evaluate what you have. Go over your communications, go over your supplies, go over, what you're going to do if there's a sudden breakdown, a bank run, a dollar collapse, a supply chain thing, lockdowns, attacks, violence, all this kind of stuff. All of these things, I think, are definitely on the table. And you need to be preparing for them and have a good idea, general idea of what you would do if these things happen. Because with the level of chaotic stuff going on, and the fact that it all seems like it's starting to kind of come to a head, like there's a focus there, definitely should be preparing for that. I mean, I could be wrong, but the way things are looking, I think that the odds of something happening are very high right now. So be prepared and start getting your houses in order. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.